Well, it's a great pleasure today. Julia Grace is actually joining me in the studio instead of via Zoom. Hello.
What a treat.
I know, it's nice to see you.
Nice to be here.
Because you're often not in your hometown. You're often
That's right.
flitting, sometimes around the country and
Yeah,
sometimes to other parts of the world, right?
that is correct. In fact, tomorrow, heading 10 a.m., heading to Wellington, doing a women's events down there at Life Switch Church, and then Life Switch Church in the morning on Sunday, flying back, and then preparing to head to Fiji to speak at a principals conference
Wow.
next week.
Does that help that you used to be a school teacher? So
100%.
yeah, they're like, oh, she's legit because she's one of us.
It's the first way I start because I speak to a lot of educators, a lot of all sorts of groups. But when I talk to people in teaching, their favourite 3 words are, I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
Because I get it. I understand.
Yeah. You're in then.
Yep, I'm in.
So today, happiness hacks.
Yeah.
Just those little bite-sized things that we talk about to sort of help us get through the day.
Yeah.
What have you got for us?
So today I've got a little hack that talks about getting back to basics and things being kind of that, often when it comes to our well-being and health, we want the fancy things. We want the razzmatazz. We want the big deal solutions. And what often happens is because we want those, we forget the basics. I don't know about you, but
Yeah.
those are the real sort of ground level. And well-being, our basics really do come down to moving our body. What are we feeding our body and how much we're sleeping? Eat, move, sleep.
All those things were kind of going through my head. I was like, did I do my stretching this morning?
Yes. And they're basic things, and often we forget them in the movement and the busyness of every day because we want to do all the other stuff. And I'm reminded of a story. Do you remember the story of Naaman in the Bible?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he needed a healing. He had, I think he probably had leprosy.
I think it was something like that. A skin condition.
Days, yeah. And so he came to the prophet and he said, "Look, what do I do?" And he was given a pretty basic way of dealing with it. And he was told to go and dunk himself in the river. And he didn't want to do that because he really wanted to do something a whole lot more fancy. And so he, there was a bit of toing and froing, and obviously a lot more to the story than that. But it always reminds me of the fact that we sometimes find it harder to do the basic things than we do to do the fancy things. And so encouraging people today for their happiness hack to think about the basic question of what's worked before.
Yeah.
Because, often we know ourselves pretty well, but we don't take the time to reflect on the past. We're heading into winter. Every winter can have its challenges. We can feel, under the weather, maybe not feeling that great or tired, and the sun goes down early and things might not be quite as easy to do when it comes to our well-being. But look back to other winters and ask yourself the question, what's worked before? So I'm going to ask you the question when it comes to your wellbeing, and you mentioned there before getting a stretching in. What are some of the things that's worked before for you that you'll keep doing?
Yeah, definitely stretching, especially as you get older, you get more achy.
Yes.
And so to counteract that is stretching. And this morning I was so proud of myself because I did factor in that 5-10 minute where I just did all the stretching and was even lying on the floor with a leg in the air and a band wrapped around there, stretching out the back of my legs.
Nice.
And I was like, got up and I was like, you should do that every day.
Yeah.
And also, like you say, yes, I like to go walking a lot, but with daylight savings having finished, by the time I get home, it's just like, yesterday I was like, ugh. And then I did some exercise indoors. I've got this Les Mills app, but I did struggle with the motivation. I thought, this is so much easier in the summer.
Yes.
But I thought, I guess it's like that every winter.
It is. And, we've seen a few winters between us, Lizzie. I won't think how many, but actually, no, that's okay. I'm level 52 now, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. Yeah. We've seen 100 winters between us, and actually, I would say we do know what works for us. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't adopt new routines and learn new information. But I do think it's really important to go, look, if every single winter we go, oh, well, now's my chance to do absolutely nothing, we're going to keep getting the same results. So rather than doing that this year, actually going, look, what opportunity does winter afford? Yes, exercise is going to be maybe more challenging. We don't want to be out, because it's cold. However, eat, move, sleep sleep's going to be easier, right? It's going to be harder to get up in the morning, but it's going to be easier to go to bed a bit earlier. And so we hit the summer and we say, oh, it's hard to get to bed early because it's, it's light outside and we're all too hot. So let's make the most of the part of the winter that's easy. So enjoy our sleep, getting that quality sleep before midnight. Maybe getting into the soups and those warm winter veggies that are so good for our health.
Yeah.
And then going, well, okay, the movement might be more challenging, but what can I do that's a little bit different? It might mean doing some internal exercise, some stuff inside, or it might literally mean investing in a really good scarf and maybe a good raincoat and going for that walk anyway, maybe at a different time of day.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, Julia, so good to see you today. Thank you for sharing your latest happiness hack with us. Thanks for joining us today. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you can catch all our interviews on Star. See you next time.